Maffetone Method, the frustrations, and 3 things you need to know as you get started with this type of training. How's it going, runners? My name is Justin Thompson. I'm your average running PT, and I help average runners achieve their own personal elite status. If that's something you're into and would like to hear more about, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you know when these videos come out. Alright, so today we're talking about Maffetone Method and what are some of the frustrations and what are 3 things that you need to do to overcome those frustrations so that you get the most out of this type of training. So real quick, let me know in the comments, are you doing Maffetone training or is this something that you're considering? If you're doing it now, let me know what your experience has been. If you're thinking about doing it, let me know what's stopping you at the moment. So go ahead and leave that stuff down in the comments below, and I would love to get back to you guys as soon as possible. So here's the thing with Maffetone training. It tends to be very kind of data driven, and not everybody is data driven in their method of training. What do I mean by data driven? Well, I mean your heart rate. Your heart rate needs to be living in a certain range whenever you are running in order to get the most benefit out of Maffetone training. Now this is going to be challenging for some people because there's a lot of people out there that like to run by feel and don't like to be driven by what's going on their watch all the time. And believe me, I was one of those people forever. I always kind of went by feel. How am I doing on this run? How am I feeling? Are my legs doing okay? Is my breathing alright? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to speed up? And it was all based on what I was feeling. The problem with that was I could never really be honest about what I was feeling. If it was up to me, it was going to be a no pain, no gain type of mentality, and I was going to push myself no matter what I was feeling. So when you have a hard time being honest with what your body is actually feeling and what the goal of that run should be, then you might need to be a little bit more data driven, and that will force you to slow yourself down if that's the goal of that particular run on that day. Now, Maffetone training can be maddeningly frustrating. Believe me, I am right there with you guys 100%. When I first started Maffetone training back in 2019, I was running like 11-12 minute miles, and it was terrible when I'm used to running 8 minutes or 7:30 per mile for my easy runs, right? Easy runs. But the thing is, like I said before, I couldn't be honest about how I was actually feeling. Those runs weren't really that easy. My goal was always point A to point B as quickly as possible, and no matter what the goal of that run was for that day. And because Maffetone training is so frustrating, I wanted to make this video that kind of talks about what are 3 things that you guys need to be thinking about or kind of embracing as you start this type of training. So tip number 1, and this could be the whole video right here, 100%, if you do this, then the other 2 things that I'm talking about will come with that. But the number 1 tip that I would give people whenever they first start Maffetone training is there has to be a mindset shift, a total mindset shift. As I said before, I came from a background of no pain, no gain. I was a collegiate soccer player. I played basketball, football, baseball, all these different sports throughout the course of my life. And every high school coach or coach coming up through the ranks, they had that same kind of mentality of no pain, no gain. And all you have to do is think back to your high school football coach and you probably would recognize that same kind of a mentality. Now I carried that mentality from all of my other sports into running. So when I was in high school cross country, my goal was always point A to point B as fast as I possibly could do it. And that didn't matter whether that was an interval day, whether it was a tempo run day, or whether it was a long, slow distance day. I tended to forget about the slow part in LSD and ended up just doing everything as quickly as I possibly could. I didn't understand that running didn't always have to hurt. It didn't always have to be painful. It didn't always have to be the goal of getting there as quickly as possible. But for whatever reason, I could never make it click in my brain that running from point A to point B 8 miles away could be just as effective running it in 64 minutes, an 8-minute per mile pace, as opposed to 60 minutes, a 7:30 pace. I didn't make that click in my head until really last year. And that's when I started Maffetone Training. And I got into it and I thought, I'm fit. I should be able to do this without any problem, and I should be able to run, close to 8 or maybe 9 minutes a mile, while keeping my heart rate within a certain range. Ha! Yeah. So 12 minutes later, I finally finished my first mile, trying to keep my heart rate under control while it was going up and down and up and down and up and down, and I was stopping and walking and all this type of stuff, and just maddeningly frustrated. So here's tip number 2, and this doesn't happen until you figure out that mindset shift, is that number 2, you have to embrace walking. Justin, I'm a runner. I'm not a walker. What are you talking about? I run. I don't walk. Me too. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if the goal is heart rate based training, the speed doesn't matter. The speed will come as the heart improves its efficiency. But how you achieve that heart rate range doesn't matter as much as the fact that you're in that range. So whether you're running or walking, as long as you're keeping your heart rate in that range of 10 beats per minute, for myself that's between 138 and 148, then you're still achieving the desired effect that you were setting out to do with Maffetone Training anyway. So you might understand how this is still going to be a big mindset shift to embrace walking. So that's why I still think number 1 was the most important part of this, because you're going to have to throw your ego completely out the window as you're walking and a 12-year-old girl runs past you and you just think, crap. So let's go ahead and jump into number 3 now. This is a long-term thing, and again, this is still a mindset shift because we want results as quickly as we possibly can get them. But in reality, aerobic development doesn't happen within just a couple of weeks. It happens over the long term, and your aerobic base can continue to grow and build over a period of months, years, even decades if you are consistent over that time period. So how long should you expect before you start to kind of get the feel of this Maffetone thing, and maybe you don't have to do as much of the walking? Well, what I noticed whenever I first started was it took me about 4 weeks, about a month, for it to kind of sink in, and I started to understand the pacing a little bit better, and I got to where I was able to do full length runs of 4, 5, 6, 7 miles without needing to take those walk breaks. So that was my experience. That was 4 weeks. Like I said, I am in the build-up again right now, so I'm in the middle of these frustrations with you right now, and I'm still having to walk now 3 weeks into this thing. I'm expecting that it might be after the 4-week mark or after 5 or 6 weeks. I would expect for anybody that's new starting out to Maffetone Training, give it a month, 2 months, 3 months to kind of get the hang of this thing and figure out the pacing, because you might be having to embrace the walking for that amount of time. Again, that's a mindset shift. You're going to have to think of not what are the results showing me from this week to next week. You're going to have to be thinking about what are the results it's showing me from this month to this month, or from this month to 3 months from now. It's not a quick fix. It's meant to be a long-term aerobic capacity building endeavor. So again, just to review, you've got number 1, you have to change the mindset. Point A to point B as quickly as possible, out the window. Number 2, embrace walking. You are going to have to walk if your body is not used to this type of training. And number 3, give it time. Give it time. Probably between 4 and 6, maybe 8 or 12 weeks. I'm not sure, depending on your current level of fitness, but you are going to have to give it time. So those are my 3 tips on how to deal with the frustrations of starting Maffetone training, because they're gonna come. I already know because I'm hearing it from you guys, and a lot of the stuff that I've been hearing from you guys has been, how do I get started with this, because I'm feeling like I have to walk just to stay within my heart rate zone. And that's really, really common, guys. It's really common, so don't be discouraged by that. Now, you guys leave me some comments down below and let me know if you guys have any other questions about Maffetone training or training in general, so that I can help you guys in any way that I possibly can. So I hope that you guys found this video useful. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you hadn't already, and I will see you guys next time.